Now, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex embarked on a 3-day private visit to Nigeria. Yes, here, engaging in various activities aimed at promoting mental health awareness, female empowerment, and supporting wounded military personnel. Their itinerary included meeting with wounded soldiers, visits to local charities, and participation in a mental health summit organized by the GEANCO Foundation.
Now, the royal couples their visits generated excitement among the public, particularly due to Meghan Markle's Nigerian heritage. But the trip also focused on, or rather the trip also focused on promoting initiatives like the Invictus Games and addressing challenges faced by Nigeria's military personnel. And their presence was a testament to their unwavering commitment to the Invictus Games, a beacon of hope for wounded and sick service members worldwide. Seems I can't talk today.
It's okay. Now, joining us to discuss deeper into the significance of this noble endeavor is Oamien Okhidievbie, Media Director of the Coalition of Concerned Military Veterans. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Good morning to you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for coming on, sir. Let's get started, right? Can you provide us, just talk to us about, just an overview of the significance of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex visit to Nigeria, particularly in the context of their engagement with, wounded soldiers and just local charities?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I would like to dwell purposely on the areas that concerns military veterans. As the Director Media Coalition of Concerned Military Veterans in Nigeria and the National Secretary for the Retired Members of Nigerian Armed Forces. Now, I will appreciate that they are here. They came to visit concerning mental health and wounded veterans. Now, but Nigeria should understand something. There's something called preparation, meeting opportunity. So when you prepare and the opportunity comes, you harness them. One of the attractiveness that brought them here was when they met with the Nigerian contingent in Germany and in the Invictus Games. And they felt, oh, we should go to Nigeria. Apart from the lady, the esteemed lady, expressing that she has some DNA connections to Nigeria, we must agree that the military, the Nigerian military, has paid its dues in global conflict and global intervention. And this is one of the attractiveness that brought them to Nigeria. But we need to understand that we are not prepared, we are not prepared, and we are still not looking at any preparedness to present sincere packages, personnel, issues of wounded and mentally challenged veterans in Nigeria.
All right, so now the couple's visit comes at a time when Nigerian military personnel face significant challenges, including combating Boko Haram insurgency. How do you think that their engagements with the wounded soldiers and the discussions with military officials can impact the efforts to address these challenges?
Their engagement would have impacted the efforts of the military in the front line. Their engagement would have impacted if they have engaged. Currently, we have a rigmarole of a lot of pressure groups, demands, and unfulfilled promises going on. Now, in the time of General Olonishakin, he saw all our protests and all the challenges on ground, and in his team, they agreed to do a 3-day retreat with military veterans and members of the British military attaché in the embassy was at that retreat. They made their presentation about the benefits of veterans worldwide. We had another 3 days retreat again on subsequent days to consummate on all the takeaways, and a document was prepared and forwarded to the National Assembly. Currently, that document is even being reviewed right now, has been reviewed right now by a 5-man committee set up by this Honorable Minister of Defense to be presented again to the President. If that document has been done and we have presented it and it's active, the Veterans Federation of Nigeria would have been a better body for them to interface with. Another thing is that when we were looking at all of these challenges, we understood that the current military we have in Nigeria are thinking of their life after service because they see all the protests we go through. I lost my eye in the military, my right eye. Until date, I'm still paying for my medicals, full my eye drops, my eyeglasses, and all of that. Do you know how many military veterans we contribute for in Nigeria that are wounded and abandoned? Do you know how many that are in the front lines now that are fighting and go to their villages to get treatment? Do you know how many has mental health issues? Go to the psychiatric hospital in Yaba and see the list of soldiers that have come there with their own resources to seek trauma care and mental correctiveness. So there's an issue in ground. We are not prepared, but the opportunities are available.
You just said something. The last phrase there, it's very very pertinent. There, you said the efforts are not, but the opportunities are available. Nigeria has expressed interest in hosting the games, the Invictus Games, and with efforts to also boost in their hopes that this would boost morale among soldiers through the sports program that would be at the games. Do you envision a potential, possibility of even hosting such an event as ginormous as this in Nigeria?
I will say sincerely, without any due respect to anybody, that if that event is going to be held in Nigeria, military veterans that have been affected positively and negatively by all the issues that have been happening to military veterans in Nigeria will stop that game. That game will not hold. Why? Because it is a charade. It is a negative posture for the current and the real situation that we face. We were in military Ministry of Defense last time. We hold the place to ransom for 2 days. We shut the gates down. And at the end of the day, nothing has come out from it. The new Minister of Defense is interfacing with a five-man committee, and we are seeing that, okay, we have documents now we have presented to the government. The effort that was used to receive these people, why was that effort not put in place to make sure the president gives his consent to the veteran bill? All of you heard about palliative that was being sung everywhere before the Better Edu case. Till date, veterans are still looking towards the palliative stories without any effective alerts in their account. Then the FDA, Security Department Allowance, that is an allowance that is supposed to help you to go economic empowerment. It's supposed to help you to have entrepreneurial input in your life. The monies are being paid with a template of 10, 15, 20 years ago. And some people are getting 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira for a quarterly payment. And you want him to go in empowerment when that 10,000 naira cannot fill the tank of a motorbike in Nigeria. So the challenge is huge, and the games will not hold if the Veterans Federation of Nigerian bill has not been consented to before that game.
So I understand what you're saying regarding the challenges here, and perhaps maybe the over-visualization of the instance, and perhaps maybe the motive itself being usurped. But let's ask about mental health. Whether a veteran or soldiers on ground currently, do you think that the efforts that they have put in to visit Nigeria and the units that they're visiting has any leverage on helping the mental state of soldiers, veterans, or no?
I don't think it's going to aggravate it. Why do I say it will aggravate it? Because it's already seen as a fallacy. Everybody believes that the proper posture, the real situation was not presented to them. And I blame the military attaché of the British envoy and the British embassy in Nigeria, because they have the opportunity to interface and really pick out the agitations and present it to them. And they should have said, before we come to your country, please, can you do this and do this and do this? So those will be takeaways, and it will have a soft landing. Veterans will be in a ceremonious mood, and you will come and meet with them in that ceremonious mood. So I think that there is a communication gap with the actual situation on ground, and a facade is being presented to them as the real scenario.
So, sir, you sound very partial to veterans. However, what about people who are still serving in the Nigerian army? Do you think they would share the same sentiments as you?
I think that for your own understanding, recently there was a viral video of soldiers in detention in Sokoto, and the army has come out to say that that video will be investigated, and that video, they will find out if the situation was as real as the soldiers are saying. Hello, we have the military intelligence and we have the military police. Those are people that are supposed to be feeding the Chief of Defense Staff Office on the ills that the military personnel are facing. Now, we also have military hospitals where soldiers discharge themselves to go and seek alternative local treatment because the current scenarios in military hospital cannot attend to the gravity of um, pains and trauma that the soldiers are going through. So if you want to know if the soldiers are enjoying current status, go and check all the criminal cases going on. Go and check where senior officers divert funds and they are put into court martial. Go and check the number of soldiers that are abandoning the front line, pull their uniforms, drop their weapons, and walk away. Then go and check the number of people that are interested to join the military and remain. That is the statistic that will direct your question.
Sir, I would like to, let's be fair, in the sake of balance and more like in sake of balance, the royal couple's visit for the efforts of the Invictus Games and even the Janako Foundation, which is about mental health and, of course, the games in creating a platform for the wounded soldiers and veterans. Don't you think it would sort of promote mental health awareness amongst, or even just spur conversation, for them? Because if we're going to look at this on a wider, scope, it's not really their problem. They're only here, they were invited, they came in. The invitation was from, of course, the general in command, and that's Christopher Musa, who invited them over. They came in on invitation, had those meetings, the prospects of hosting the games, and also talk about mental health in general. Also visited the wounded veterans in the hospital there in Kaduna State. So, I mean, if we make a case or be balanced here, don't you think it would sort of spur conversation and talk about inclusivity and the way forward?
Well, I like the way you presented the matter on balance. Now, the General Christopher himself, from my last statement, have told us that he's not even aware that soldiers have been detained in stupid conditions in Sokoto State. Now, the same Kaduna that was used as a prospect, that same Kaduna was where my eyes issues were detected, and I was sent to the eye center, and they told me they didn't have the facilities then when I was in 1 Mechanized Infantry Division to take care of my eyes, and I was later sent away until I got to Lagos before I started to review the case again after a number of deteriorations. Now, the same officers in the ranks and file, they face all of these things, but they cannot speak out because of the rules of engagement and the policies that guide court-martial presentations. Now, if you look at the balance that we need, before you are invited to a place, you will do your investigations. You can't be invited to Nigeria. Nigeria was also a baby of the UK and the British Empire. So when you are invited here, you send your people to do investigations to find out if the reasons of your coming are germane and they are going to provide the necessary results of your prospective Invictus Games. And that is where I'm angry, because if you do your investigations, you will decline the invitation. Why did you accept invitation that does not provide proper standing? Are you coming here on political grounds? Are you playing politics with the life and the mental stability of veterans? This situation has aggravated our mental state in the negative direction.
And then what's the way forward then? Because this looks like an institutional problem, clearly. You know, it is an institutional problem. And if you're going to widen this, it's really a Nigerian problem. We've not focused on mental health. We don't even have a maintenance culture. Staff welfare is abysmal. What's the way forward?
Well, one of the way forward is, by the grace of God, I believe that the president will hear about this broadcast. The Veterans Federation of Nigeria bill is unstable. I was in that bill formation for the two sets of retreats for 3 days. I want him to assent to that bill, because the best of the brains in Nigerian veterans community, General Air Commander Oguntu, retired, Veteran Commander Durowaye Abiodun Herbert, and so many other intelligent senior officers came together to review this bill to current status and remove all the clauses that were not favorable, and presented it again to the president. So I pray that the president should assent that bill, so that the right body with the right objectives, we face all the opportunities that will be coming, because this is our preparation. The VFM bill is our preparation, and the SDA review and the palliatives should be sent immediately to veterans to reduce all of these crises that have been going on in their spirits.
So in furtherance to that, Nigeria being a former colony of the British Empire, do you think that Britain should actually have more empathy toward the Nigerian military situation, and maybe instead of waiting to be invited, perhaps maybe put in effort to help our situation when it comes to the lacks that you've noted in the Nigerian military?
Yeah, as it gets to the British, I really don't blame them much, because I have an MSc in international relations and politics, okay? And I've traveled globally, I've gone to so many countries, interfaced in so many platforms. You know, they are already also always finding footing where their global relevance will be renewed at all fronts. You know, so coming for the Invictus Games, it's a good project, actually. Looking at mental health, wounded soldiers, wow, lovely. You know, but they should not be concerned much with our internal grounds, but they will come and face embarrassment if they are bringing the Invictus Games here. And I think that our internal arrangement and preparation should be geared towards bringing appropriateness. If this government wants to establish a renewed Nigeria, a new mandate, we should begin to eject all of this kind of willful aggrandizement, that we just portray certain people in the light of performance. That is a knee-jerk approach to actual problems that are pulling down motivation and criteria for loyalty in the Nigerian military system.
Oh, very interesting there. You've already said what we could do as a nation to try and help, but we keep looking at this very, what's the word now, reactionarily. Without this effort or this visit, what has Nigeria been doing for its military personnel? What could they do? Let's subtract or remove any external influence, whether British or American. What have they been doing? What could they do better?
For currently, the medical that have been approved for the Nigerian military personnel need to be upgraded to capture ailments and illnesses that affect the elderly, you know, like arthritis, liver problems because of the water you drink and all of that. Then your eyesight, because we face adverse conditions mainly, especially some of us that were snipers, were this or that in the military, you know, some things that concerns your health. and the medical package we have now cannot capture it. Look at accommodation also. Do you know how many times we have contributed money to pay ransom for a fellow veteran so that these bandits will release the person? You know, we are supposed to live in places of security, but you see, Nigerian politicians are the ones living in the best of the areas in the country that is secured. Meanwhile, the veterans, after your discharge, you are paid, some of us are getting 30,000 naira monthly as pension, and you are allowed to go and live among the people that you were dealing with before that were against the government and against the citizens of Nigeria. So we must have accommodation, proper health care, and I implore Nigerians, not the government. You know, if you go to some airlines, you are supposed to have rebates on your ticket. You know, you are supposed to board first. They'll say, veterans, please board. Those will encourage the younger ones to see value in it. There are some places you should put signages to say, thank you for your service, military veterans, in hospitals, in airports, local transport system. There must be signs to show in the banks. What are the financial institutions doing to help the military veterans? We need all of this in place so that we'll begin to capture the reasons why we gave our youth and our life to this country, and why those in service must continue to be loyal, because when they come out, they will come and embrace all of these benefits that are alluring.
Mr. Okhidievbie, first off, we want to start here. We want to say thank you very much for your service to Nigeria. We appreciate all that you have done. And about your loss, trust me, no one can tell. We can't even tell. But you're still looking very, very good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's always an opportunity.